How is it going, Bears fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Bear Down podcast, where we talk everything Bears every day of the week. Today, we have our Week 3 installment of Fan Mail Friday, and we will be answering your guys' questions prior to the Bears' Week 3 matchup against the Atlanta Falcons. Before I get into this one, I would like to say you guys have been absolutely killing the support recently on all platforms, so whether you're on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or you're on YouTube right now, do us a favor and subscribe. We're nearing 200 subscribers on both Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Also pushing hard for 3,000 subscribers on YouTube. And finally, if you are on YouTube, do us a favor, drop a like on this video. It helps us out a lot. I am your host, Chris Malpe, and today, to answer your guys' questions, I am joined with my co-hosts, Parth and Jaylen McClinton. How's it going, fellas?
I'm doing pretty good. I just got a new mic. It's got like an arm
Sounds
stand
good.
and everything. Hopefully it sounds good. We're just upping the production for you guys. You guys have been supporting us, and we want to up the game. Get sound more professional. So this is just the start of it.
Yeah, same here. A couple days away from the third week of the season, which is crazy to me. But let's talk some Bears football.
Let's get right into it. We've got a lot of questions to answer today, a lot from the YouTube community tab, also a lot from Instagram, obviously. So let's hop right into it. This first question is from Life is Hard on the YouTube community tab. Life can be hard being a Bears fan sometimes, so I don't blame you. And he asks, do you think this team mid-season will find their offensive identity? You know what? I think with Matt Nagy, it's hard to find an identity because most of the time, in my opinion, he tries to throw the ball a lot, and it doesn't always work out. I would love to see the Bears rush the ball more and be able to implement the run into the game. They've been able to do it, at least through these first 2 weeks, decently well. But you know what? I think identifying some sorts of offensive identity can be pretty tough. But I would hope by midseason they have it figured out. So I guess my answer to that question would be I don't know. I don't know if there's much more for you guys to add, Parth and Jaylen, but if any of you want to add anything, what do you think? Will the Bears find some sort of identity mid-season?
I feel like we will. I think the Bears offense has shown us that it can be able to do great things so far this year. Back in 2018, we did find our identity, even though it was for like a shortened amount of time. I feel like there was a point in the season where it felt like the Bears offense could put up consistent points. And in 2019, there was no identity. And we basically have seen the Bears have identity in a couple quarters so far. Fourth quarter of Detroit, we saw the Bears offense explode. And in the first half against the Giants game, we saw the Bears offense look great as well. So if the Bears can string a couple games together, I think the identity can come. I think we just need to pound the rock more. I feel like as long as we pound the rock, the identity will come to itself. The play actions will work, and Trubisky can hopefully elevate his game. And he has been so far. The first 2 games, I think he's looked great. And he's only going to get better, in my opinion.
Yeah, pounding the rock's going to be really important. So let's hop into another question from Instagram. This one comes from Parse Poll, from Adam_Awadwa05. He asks, guys, should we give Cohen Patterson the ball more and keep feeding David Montgomery? Jaylen, we skipped you on the last question, so I want to start this one off with you. Do you think the Bears should keep pounding the rock and maybe even become run-dependent in Week 3 against an Atlanta defense that's allowed 39 points per game?
You kind of hurt my feelings by skipping me, but the answer to that question, yes, definitely, because that's obviously what's working for us. We haven't seen a real reliable run game that we use consistently under Nagy. So especially for David, David is doing very well. We're feeding him the ball a lot. He had a good second half after coming off that scary neck injury, and then Tariq and Cordell are great change of pace backs. So definitely we should definitely keep continue to pound the rock and use play action for Trubisky. That's obviously was working, and no need to shy away from it.
Yeah, no kidding. I think you got to keep pounding the rock. David Montgomery with 82 rushing yards in Week 2, also 64 in Week 1. I think you got to keep handing him the rock. He's on pace for over 1,200 rushing yards. So keep giving him the rock. Good things will happen as long as this interior offensive line continues to do well. Heading into another question now for my Instagram. I'm going to ask this one to you first, Parth. This is from Philip_Roz. He asks, is Danny Trevathan starting to become a problem it seems like Hawkinson and Ingram tore us up. And you know what? Before I do pass it to Parth, I got to agree with you, Philip. I think Danny Trevathan is becoming quite the problem. And we saw him get a Veterans Day rest a few days ago. He doesn't have an injury to be able to explain his bad play. I got to be honest, and it may be me overreacting because we've only played for 2 weeks, but he has looked slow. I mean, you take a look at week one when TJ Hawkinson and also guys out of the backfield like DeAndre Swift were burning him on the DeAndre Swift pass that could have won the game. That was Trevathan's cover. But yeah, Hawkinson had 56 yards in week one on 5 catches. Also, you look at week two, Evan Engram is a player who heated up in the second half and ended up having 6 receptions for 65 yards. So, not the greatest start of the season for Trevathan. I do think we have enough of a good supporting cast to be able to not worry about it, but it has become an issue, especially in the late game when teams attack him, because obviously Jaylon Johnson's been playing well. We thought he was going to get attacked a ton early on, but Danny Trevathan has been picked on a lot, and teams have had success with it. And you can look for Atlanta to do the same thing with guys like Todd Gurley and Hayden Hurst. But, Parth, do you think Trevathan's becoming a problem thus far?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you here. When the Bears decided to sign Trevathan over guys like Kevin Pierre-Louis or Nick Kwiatkowski, I was a little concerned, but I always like to trust Pace's judgments. But this is one that I did not agree with Pace on. I still don't, and I don't think I will. Kevin Pierre-Louis, in my opinion, was actually the best option out of all three. We saw him come into games last year, play the starting role, and play really well. And he's playing really well here in Washington right now. He's currently on the. I was about to say the Redskins. He was on the Washington football team. And this week, in week 2, he received the third highest grade of all defenders by PFF, grade of 91.3, just under TJ Watt and Shelby Harris. So, I mean, Kevin Pierre-Louis is out here balling in Washington, and we're struggling out here with Danny Trevathan, and it's starting to become a problem. If we start facing teams with better running backs, guys who can catch the ball out of the backfield, this Bears team can definitely give up some big yardage. It's a concern. Am I fully concerned yet? No. I think he can pick it up. Hopefully he does, or else we're going to have to start looking other ways, and guys like Josh Woods or Iggy will have to step it up.
Yeah. Another question that's important is, and Jaylen, I'm going to ask this one to you. This one comes from Corky.Romano. We know Trubisky's going to have a big game if the Bears want to take down the Falcons. We've seen Dak Prescott and Russell Wilson both be able to put up 5 touchdowns on offense against this team. So, Jaylen, I want to start with you on this one. Do you think that Trubisky can pick apart that awful Falcons defense? They're ranked 32 in overall defense in the league. They're also going to be missing, looks like, at least based on who hasn't participated in practice, that they could be missing guys like Tack McKinley, Dante Fowler. By the way, when we're recording this, the Falcons injury report literally just came out 30 seconds ago. They look like they might be missing Dante Fowler, Ricardo Allen. Julio Jones also didn't practice, but he's on the offensive side. So, Jaylen, it looks like a defense that already has had trouble with all their starters at stopping quarterbacks is going to be missing some important pieces. So, do you think Trubisky will be able to get the job done this weekend and put up enough points on offense?
No, so for the last 2 teams that Atlanta Falcons have played, both of their quarterbacks have both put up 4 touchdowns.
And been named NFC Offensive Player of the Week.
Harry and gets his head up, but yeah, they both put up 4 touchdowns. Dak had 3 running and 1 passing, and Russell Wilson had 4 touchdowns, throwing. So if we can be able to pick apart this defense, this is going to be a huge confidence booster for Mitchell. The last couple games, people are still getting on him. In my opinion, I know we kind of disagreed when we went after the game that he had a very solid game. Those 2 interceptions were not on him, and then the first game, people say he didn't play good the first 3 quarters until till the fourth where we start coming back. So if Mitchell can put up points consistently all 4 quarters, and be named NFC Offensive Player of the Week, that's going to help this offense massively. Parth keeps saying that he feels like this is the 2018 Bucks game where Mitchell obviously put up 6 touchdowns and stuff like that. So I definitely feel like he can pick apart this defense. You named a bunch of their secondary might not play as well as their pass rushers, and then Isaiah Oliver, who plays on the outside, is top 5 in yards given up 2 weeks through the season with almost 200 yards or something like that. So if Mitchell can uh, get the ball accurately to his receivers like Anthony Miller, Darnell Mooney, Allen Robinson, and his tight ends as well. This should be a big day for us on offense.
100%. I'm going to have to agree with you there. The Bears are going to have to look to attack Isaiah Oliver, someone who our guest yesterday, Malik Brown, said was going to be very important if the Bears can pick him apart. It's going to need to be a big day for Anthony Miller, as well as Allen Robinson, who's on a rookie, and A.J. Terrell, who has performed well lately, and Allen Robinson definitely needs a bounce-back game. There are so many questions, and it's probably the most asked questions in our forum right now, talking about Julio Jones and reckoning whether he'll play. Well, look, he hasn't practiced Thursday or Friday or Wednesday or Thursday. It seems like the best he could be on Friday is limited in practice. I don't know if it would be possible for him, who has a hamstring injury that got worse, to be full on Friday after 2 days of not practicing at all. I think it looks like he's not going to play in this game, but I say it every week. Friday's injury report's going to tell us whatever we need to know. So moving on from that question, Parth, I'm going to bring it back to you for this next one. A lot of people want to see Riley Ridley play against Calvin Ridley, and I'm not going to pick anyone specifically because I also got this question a lot, at least in my questionnaire / forum that I had. So obviously Riley Ridley has been a healthy scratch throughout 2 weeks. Personally, I don't think he plays. I don't know why anything would change unless the Bears game plan it different. I mean, we did see Ted Ginn get a healthy scratch last week based on the game plan per Matt Nagy, but do you think there's any chance Riley Ridley plays this weekend?
I mean, it's tough. There's a lot of weapons on the offensive side of the ball, especially the wide receiver position. We got Allen Robinson, Anthony Miller, Darnell Mooney, Javon Wims, the four guys that will, I guess, never be healthy scratches unless if something really bad happens. But yeah, I don't see Riley Ridley playing this week. I would love to see Riley Ridley play. I'm someone who's really high on Ridley. Ever since he got drafted, I've loved watching him at Georgia. I thought he's one of the best route runners coming into the draft in a recent history. So seeing Ridley play against his brother would be pretty dope, but I just don't see it happening. But yeah, I mean, if we can game plan it some way, I think Ridley should get opportunities. I mean, he did show us some talent, I guess, in Week 17 against Minnesota last year, where he had a couple great catches, one great catch on 4th and 9. That saved the Bears from losing against a bunch of backups in Minneapolis in Week 17. So hopefully we get to see him sometime during the season, but I don't see it happening Week 3.
Yeah, I don't see it happening either. Look, next question is going to be a very important one in regards to the Bears winning this game. We know how red hot this Atlanta offense has been. We saw Matt Ryan in Week 1 throw for 450 passing yards with a passer rating of 98.5, also threw 2 touchdowns. Todd Gurley, even on the ground, got into the action, 56 yards and a touchdown. Julio looks like he might be out of this game, but Calvin Ridley, still, you can't underestimate him. 9 catches for 130 yards and 2 touchdowns in Week 1. And then the Atlanta offense did keep it up in Week 2. Their defense gave away that game. We saw Matt Ryan throw for another 273 yards and 4 touchdowns. And his average passer rating is now over 100. Todd Gurley with another solid contribution. And Calvin Ridley, yet again, catching 2 more touchdowns on 7 receptions for 109 yards. So, Jaylen, I'm going to pass it back to you. This question comes from JackWall05 on my Instagram. Can our defense slow down this Falcons offense enough to win this game?
I feel like this is the best defense the Falcons have played. Since the beginning of the season, we saw the Seahawks give up 30 points to Cam Newton and Belichick, and then the Cowboys. Who did they play Week 1? They gave up a bunch of points to the Rams.
Yeah.
So, I definitely feel like this is probably the best defense they've played. Calvin really, kind of worries me because he's obviously being great, and I feel like that's partly because Julio's on the opposite side of him. Julio attracts a bunch of attention, and that gives Calvin really a lot of one-on-ones, and he's a great route runner. He's very fast. So, with a clean route, he can beat any corner in a one-on-one situation. So, I definitely feel like we can slow them down. Hopefully we don't put out a showing that we did in the first 3 quarters against the Lions because, the field goals that we were giving the Lions will probably be touchdowns if it was the Falcons. So I definitely feel like we can stop them. We have to get pressure on Matt Ryan. We can't allow Todd Gurley to go off in the run game, which is something that we struggle with in Week 1 as well. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I do think this defense will be able to slow down Atlanta. They are missing a lot of important pieces on offense too, or it looks like they will miss a lot of important pieces on offense. I mean, you look back at that injury report from Friday. Julio Jones, Alex Mack, their center, who's so elusive and so great in run and pass block, did not participate in practice. Also, Caleb McGarry, someone who is probably going to miss a week. Also, their backup tight end, Luke Stocker, missed. And then their starting left tackle as well, Jake Matthews, looks like he is going to play. He was limited today. He's probably going to need to be full tomorrow for that to be guaranteed. But I do think this Bears defense will be able to slow down Atlanta at least enough to win this game. You know, it helps that it's looking like they're going to be an injury-riddled team. Obviously, you don't wish injuries on anyone, but you know what? It might help that they do have a couple of injuries. Look, if Julio doesn't play, Parth, it looks like that Jaylon Johnson is going to be covering Russell Gage, the 2018 sixth-round pick out of LSU, and it's going to be a big game for Jaylon Johnson. You know, we all thought he was going to cover Calvin Ridley, and he still might. I'm not ruling Julio out at all. He's a player that definitely wants to play, but we've seen Russell Gage come out so far pretty well. He's caught 15 balls for 160 yards and also a touchdown, has caught most of the targets that have gone his way. So, Parth, it's going to be a big game for Jaylon Johnson yet again, a player who has had 4 pass deflections, which is tied for 4th in the entire league. So, Parth, I want to ask you, and I forget who asked this question, I apologize, but do you think Jaylon Johnson has another solid week against the Falcons?
I hope so. I mean, it's a tough matchup. Either if Julio plays or not, he's still guarding I'd say an upcoming talented wide receiver. Russell Gage is having a phenomenal year so far with 160 yards, like you said, and he had 114 last week against the Seattle defense, which the week before week 1, which is a pretty good defense. Yes, they've struggled here and there, but to put up 114 yards in week 1 was impressive. I think Jaylon Johnson has his work cut out for him again. I thought he'd have it cut out for him week 1 against a guy like Kenny Galladay. But I'd say Matt Ryan is a really good quarterback, and he can throw dots to any guy basically. So Jaylon Johnson's definitely got to play well this week, and I think he will. He has shown us that he can play well. He is starting to become one of the top corners in the league quietly entering into the Defensive Rookie of the Year conversation as well. Something to watch out for as Bears fans. I feel like we haven't had a rookie succeed so far in the last couple of years, like Jaylon Johnson. It's going to be nice to get some recognition. And another thing is Ryan Pace has definitely hit on this draft. And I'm getting a little off topic here, but guys like Mooney and Johnson and Cole Kmet are going to be solid players or even great players for the Bears in the future.
Yeah, Ryan Pace definitely has hit on this draft, and we saw Jaylon Johnson do a pretty good job last week against a combination of Sterling Shepard when he was healthy and in the game, as well as Darius Slayton, but another tough task coming his way, whether it's going to be Ridley or Julio or Russell Gage. Next question comes from Reeves_Hildebrand14. He asks, and this is a question that we're going to basically keep answering until there is some consistency within the Bears games. But he asks, do you think that the offense can or will develop consistency and not have the D relying on winning these games so much? You know what? I would hope they would, and I think a game against Atlanta is a great chance for the Bears to be able to show some consistency. We've seen Atlanta give up 39 points per game. They're going to be out a couple important players. If Dante Fowler's out, that's huge. Same with Takk McKinley. Also Ricardo Allen, who hasn't played so well thus far, but still is an important piece on that defense. There's going to be a lot of pieces that are missing, and Isaiah Oliver is still going to be out there. They're going to be playing an inexperienced secondary without maybe one or two of their top pass rushers. So I think the Bears' offense will hopefully find some consistency in this game, and I sure hope they'll be able to put up points because it's going to be important that they do if they want to win this one, because we've seen what the Falcons' offense has been able to do, and even though, as Jaylen said, it might be one of their toughest tasks yet in regards to facing a tough defense in the Bears defense has still been a little slow too, so the Bears' offense is going to have to get off and start this game running and definitely not stop, because we saw them take their foot off the brakes in the second half against the Giants, and that can't happen again. So, Jaylen, do you think the Bears' offense will be able to show some consistency in Week 3?
Well, the fan in me, I want to say yes, but to be realistic, not really until we can consistently do something like with the run game. I don't Nagy. He's done better in staying to it, but I still can't trust Nagy on consistently running the ball. He comes from Andy Reid coaching tree, and Andy Reid loves passing the ball. So until we can consistently do something, rather it's run the ball or pass it well, and not you know like stick to something like not I don't want
If
us
he's
to.
able to stick to his word, is what you're trying to
Yeah,
say.
that's basically what I'm trying to say. Thank you, Christopher. But
Christopher.
yes, that's your name, Christopher. But yes, until he can stick to his word on doing something, I'm gonna say no.
Okay. Well, that'll pretty much do it for our week 3 Fan Mail Friday, guys. If you want to submit questions for future weeks, because we've gotten a ton of asks about how to submit questions, you can follow us on social media at Bear Down on Instagram and Twitter. We always ask for questions on there, and also keep a look out on our YouTube community tab. On Wednesday or Thursday of game week, we ask for questions all the time on both of those as well. But that'll pretty much do it for this one, guys. If you want more content from us, head over to our website, beardown.com. I say it all the time, but we're posting a ton of extra content on there. And finally, if you would like to find us on social media, you can find the links to me, Parth, and Jaylen's fan pages down in the description. Parth Shaw, Jaylen McClinton, it's been a pleasure. It always is. It's about time to go into our pregame show yet again. Parth, how do you enjoy the new microphone?
Yeah, it's awesome. I just set it up like 5 minutes before we started recording. It's insane to have it in my dorm room. It looks dope. And I got class in 10 minutes, which I'm something that I'm not so excited for, but
Hey, you'll have good audio for your Zoom call.
I don't think I'll ever be talking in that class anytime soon, so it's good.
What class?
It's an econ class, so
Okay. Well, Jaylen, any last words?
I can't wait till we all get our mics. Parth's mic is making me very excited to all use it. We want to, like I said before, we want to bring you guys better quality and stuff like that, and make sure you enjoy our videos as you're watching or listening. So, other than that, bear down. We take on Atlanta in a couple days, and that's about it.
Yes, that is about it. The time to talk is almost over. We've only got one more show to make for you guys before week 3. We are super excited to see the Bears try and start off 3-0. Should be an exciting game this Sunday for both teams. So that'll pretty much do it. It's been a pleasure to be your host. Once again, my name is Chris Maltby. Bears fans, do us a favor, and as always, stay safe and bear down. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.